Hello, Ashley here, coming to you to talk about feelings, because what's better than talking about feelings? Which makes me laugh, because if you had asked me to talk about feelings years ago, I'd be like, what are those? Which is why I'm here today, because I've learned a lot about feelings and the body, and not only with and through my own experience, but also working with clients. Hello, Erica. If you're hopping on live, please say hello. And if you are catching the replay, also let me know that you were here. I'm Ashley DePaulis. If we have not met, I help women, people, I've helped men, but mostly women who are like in the work, like doing the work. That could be either working on healing, that could be either working in their career. But that doing that work, they get so focused on it that they tend to forget about other aspects of their lives. Lots of times their bodies, and listening to their bodies, understanding their emotions, how to process those in and through the body, and then that results in some sort of dis-ease, whether that is an injury, a reoccurring injury that is happening, or whether that's just like these aches and pains and things aren't working correctly anymore, or this chronic tension or pattern of tension. So I wanted to come on today and share 3 things that you can do in the moment to not bypass your emotions when they come up, because it's the most common question I receive. It is, how do I not bypass them, or how do I tend to compartmentalize, which many people do because we're on the go, we're stressed, and we don't have time for that. So we push it off, we forget about it, we make it not mean something, we come up with some story about, I'll get to that later, or it wasn't a big deal, or I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it really is. But your body is always going to remember that response. And when you bypass that response, then that energy gets lodged in your body, which then over time, that can build up and turn into the dis-ease that you feel, whether that be lack of energy, anxiety, depression, all the things, all the symptoms that can come up. It could be reoccurring injury, like I said. So how do we work with our emotions when they arise, when you're potentially in public or in a meeting, or really busy, because you are a busy person? So the 3 things that you can do, I'll back up a little bit. Another reason why this is super important, thank you. Thank you for loving my glasses. They remind me of like either a cop or Miss Fizzle. I don't know. I don't even know if she wore glasses, but I just feel like a school teacher when I put these on. So anyways, I want to back up a minute and share another reason why this is so important is because our brains process emotion first and then logic. So the emotion comes up in our body, it comes up as a sensation in our body, and that's usually when we're like, oh no, I can't deal with this right now, and we have some sort of reaction to it, and then we come up with a story about the reaction that we had, or that it wasn't a big deal. Emotion is also energy. It's energy in motion. So again, that's, hey Macy, good to see you. That's where it can get, if we bypass it, stuck in the body. And then this can even show up as holding on to extra weight in the body. So it shows up in many different forms depending on your uniqueness and how your body holds energy. I know for me, so if you don't know anything about me, which you likely probably don't know all this, but I've shared my story a few times. So I was in a car accident when I was 19 and lived with, and it was a really bad car accident, like drunk driver, lots of broken bones, all the things, surgery. And I didn't know that I had PTSD. And so I was living with PTSD for 14 years until I found out that I had it. And during that time, that's when I had the experience of like feelings or emotions. I don't even know like how to get in touch with those. The way that I felt like myself or got into my body, so to speak, is through exercise. So exercise, like even before that happened, I've been a lover of movement and working out and fitness and all the things. And so it was really a bridge for me to come back to my body in the times where I didn't consciously know that I was like bypassing anything, obviously, but I knew that when I was moving and exercising, I felt more like myself. So that's what I did all the time. And it's also where I learned, and I had always known this, but like learned it on like a body level, because I've always studied health. That's always been my jam as well. But I've always known that there are more aspects to health than only our physical aspect, but that's the part that we tend to focus on the most. And I learned this on a body level when I was going through the process of healing PTSD and working with moving energy from the body. And when you do that, it's actually pretty miraculous in how you don't have to overthink your behaviors and your habits and all those sorts of things. They just come naturally. You gravitate towards doing the healthier or choosing the healthier option, versus when you are riddled with stress and anxiety and depression. Like those are not optimal spaces or it's not optimal health to want to choose the best option for you. So that's, where I learned it and started moving into all these other areas. So fitness was really the bridge for me, teaching fitness, all the things. But I learned just how much I was holding in my body, no matter how fit and healthy I looked on the outside. Because I was super fit and I felt good, but I was also good in the sense of, I had energy and I could do all these really cool things with my body, but I would have like chronic tension patterns, or I wasn't like super happy, or I couldn't get out of these like limiting spaces in my life. That's how it really showed up for me. Or swinging between like extreme, like having extreme energy and then being exhausted. So that burnout, which many women experience. So the reason why it's so important to work with your emotions and understand how your body is communicating with you is so that you're not repressing and carrying around a bunch of emotion in your body. It's held in your emotional body, but then it shows up in your physical body, because that's when we start having health issues. So how do we avoid that? We work with it. It's not totally avoidable. You just have to be aware. When you have that awareness, you have to be able to dance with what's coming up and feel safe and supported through your process, trusting your body, trusting yourself through that process. So 3 things that you can do if you are out and about in public, you are in a meeting, you receive a phone call or somebody says something triggering and you're just like flushed with all this emotion. So first of all, if we let ourselves actually feel emotion, it takes only 90 seconds for your body to metabolize that emotion. If there's one thing I say here, it's to like really let that sink in, because if we recognize we can really be with it in the moment, because it does take presence, then it moves right through you then. And think of how long, like when we repress things and then we, maybe participate in behaviors that, repress it even more, and then we're carrying that around for however long, and we get in a pattern, a mindset, a behavior that's not serving us, and then having to like unravel all that is a lot more work than just being in the moment for 90 seconds, right? So these 3 things will help you with that. So if you're like flushed with emotion, they come up. I think we're all expert repressors. It's really something we have to unlearn, because our society we're conditioned to just push through, move on. And those are all the stories that I hear from clients. So, another aspect of this, not only my experience, but just seeing how these, because I've worked with a lot of people with injury and health challenges, and how those injuries, even if they're not something totally big, but they're just like dampening your energy, it's always there, it slows you down, it has you not feeling like yourself, there's always a story attached to it. And that story, I've recognized, always goes back to childhood, some story, some event that happened. So our emotion that comes up is always connected to a behavior. It's always connected to a belief and a past experience. So if we can get in tune with those, then we have a much more fluid time, a much easier time working with it, and you get quicker at allowing these energies, these emotions, because that's all emotion is. It's energy, it's sensation in the body. You can allow it to move through. So if you are on the go, emotion comes up and you're like, I'm going to stop being the expert repressor, because this is something we all have to unlearn. You can. One breath is super powerful. So if you feel emotion, a sensation come up in your body, and instead of like pushing it away, that's what like my clients would always be like, I just want it to go away and do this motion. Notice like what you're doing with your body when an emotion comes up. Is it this like, I want to back up from it, I want to run from it, I feel overwhelmed by it? Like, notice how that shows up for you, and maybe the posture you end up putting yourself in. This all goes into embodiment. But first we have to be aware, integrate, and then embody. We're not going to get into all that today, but notice how you hold yourself when that emotion comes up. Breath is super powerful of connecting you to your body. So when you feel an emotion come up, you can immediately breathe into it. You can just acknowledge that it's there. Like, okay, this emotion is here. I'm just going to breathe with it. You can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open, whatever. There's no wrong way to do this. I'm not even going to term it right or wrong. The only thing that's not going to serve you is to like push it away, obviously, and repress it. So don't worry about getting any of like the action steps perfect. So just breathe with it. Like, how can you let it breathe? Whether that be in the space around you, whether that be in and through your body, and maybe then it fills up all the space around you, but just come to your breath. So the breath, how large of a breath? So I think slowing your breath, because when we take like big breaths and press them out like really hard and fast, then that can excite our nervous system. And what we're really wanting to do is calm our nervous system in that moment. So you can do what's called box breathing. That's 4 breaths in, nice and slow through your nose, 4 breaths out, nice and slow through your mouth. The Navy SEALs use it, I believe, as a way of keeping their systems calm. So when we I'm back. When we take like big breaths in and like push them out, then that can excite our nervous system. So I wouldn't do that unless you want to have more energy. So slowing the breath is what will help. So it can just be your normal breathing pattern, but even taking attention there, because a lot of times when emotion comes up and we feel triggered and we want to react or run or something, then we hold our breath. So just as long as it can be a normal breath, but taking your attention there, taking your attention to your body, being aware of what sensations are coming up and just acknowledging them. Just like, oh, hey, I feel like this right now. That helps plenty. It doesn't have to be this like long drawn out, you can journal about it, but you don't need to do all that. So breath is number 1. Number 2, hands on body. So you can even do that while you're breathing. So you can put your hands on your thighs. You can't, if you're in a meeting or something and you don't want to look weird, like you're just like grabbing onto yourself. But just hands on body can bring you into present moment awareness with your body and what you're feeling. You can put your hand over your heart or both hands over your heart. You can put both hands on your belly. You can take one to your belly and your chest, or you can even hands touch together or hands clasp together, and you can put them in your lap. That just brings attention to your body instead of like, okay, I'm feeling this thing and I'm like, I want to come up to my head and make all these stories about it and blame somebody else or blame myself or whatever that may be. Like taking the attention to the body is what's going to serve you. Number 3, hands clasped together. Why would that look weird? You can put them down on your lap. I mean, I'm sure tons of people sit like that. You don't have to sit here like a cheerleader. Number 3, you can shake your hand. So if you notice animals, when they have an adrenaline rush, whether that be another animal chases them or whatever happens in the wild with animals, they shake to shake off that excess energy. And that's all that's happening with emotion is excess energy. And so you can take your hands at your side and just do like this. I would do this at my side. I'm just showing you my hands. You can do it a little more vigorously if you want and actually shake your hands at your sides. If you're alone and you're not around people, I kind of set this up that if you were around other people, but if you were alone, you could stand up and like shake your whole body. You can do one hand or both hands. I wouldn't worry about how you're going to look. I know we all tend to worry about that, but all these things are like super simple and you don't need to make yourself look crazy. So anyways, those are the 3 things that I wanted to share with you today. Bringing attention to your breath. No one's going to notice. Hands on your body, wherever that might be. Hands on your thighs, hands clasped together in your lap, hands on your belly, or one on the other. No one's gonna, the funny thing about worrying about what anyone's gonna think, no one is paying attention to anyone else but themselves. So yeah, anyways, that's all I wanted to share today. I hope this helps you not bypass your emotions or not repress your emotions. Yeah, that's all. Oh, I want to let you know that right now I'm in early bird enrollment for my program, my 8-week group program that does have one-on-one attention as part of it. It's called Vital Body. And this is where we take a holistic approach to exploring physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, and really coming into a place where you are working with the communication, listening to the communication, trusting the communication of your body, and building a strong foundation and presence and vitality. So we want you enjoying your life, being able to express yourself fully, and that really comes from being in the present moment and having a strong foundation underneath you. A lot of times why all this emotion comes up and why we experience dis-ease in the body is because we are out of alignment with something in our lives. Maybe it was something that once served us and it no longer does, and we're still kind of hanging on to it, or it's hanging on to us. So we explore all that inside Vital Body, and right now we're in early bird enrollment through next Monday, September 21st. So you can go to the link in my bio and fill out an application to apply, or you can send me a DM and I can Vital, VITAL, or you can send me a DM and I'll share the details with you. But that's it. Bye for now. Thanks for being here.